Hello, my name is Manchus and I'm a content creator. After I created my first game, I started joining game jams, and boy, do I have a story to tell you. Somehow I always managed to get myself in peculiar situation, and this was no exception. So after I finished my first micro game that I talked about in the previous video, I joined a themed horror game jam, which made sense because my first game was horror in more ways than just genre. For some weird reason, I thought that this game jam would only last a week, but no! It actually lasted an entire month. And you might think, well, this is nice. You can create a game at a chill pace. Ha! You just wait and see what I have to tell you. And before I get carried away, the theme for the game jam was revealed to be aliens, which, I'll be honest, I was not too fussed about. I joined this jam strictly as a programmer, because I wanted to improve my coding skills and I didn't want to spend time on art, so I started looking for a team. At first there were only two of us, me and another person who did music, but somehow our team grew to 10 members. This was honestly incredible. We had a writer, we had a UI artist, we even had a manager. And the most important of all is that we had 3 programmers. As someone who's only coding for 2 months at this point, I was nowhere near confident to bring a whole game together for a game jam. So I was really glad that we had an experienced developer on our team that would work on actually bringing the whole game together, so I could focus on bits and pieces of code. The third programmer had about the same amount of experience that I did. So our programming team consisted basically of an adult and 2 toddlers. This was the first time I used GitHub and learned how coding together and merging worked. Obviously, our lead programmer handled the repository and merged the code. His code actually looked like the proper code needs to look like, and he also helped me implement better principles when writing scripts. This was the first time I ever used abstraction myself. And I felt like the greatest mind ever lived. Programming can do that to you. And at the same time, it can quickly take these feelings away and you start feeling like you were dropped too many times on the head as a baby. So things were going pretty well and I did little bits of pieces of code and I didn't have to worry about connecting the whole game together. Well, until 2 weeks into the game jam when our lead programmer had to leave for personal reasons. Obviously, stuff happens, it wasn't their fault, but I think you realize where I'm going with this. Now, someone had to bring the whole game together. Someone who started programming 2 months ago. Someone who barely understood how GitHub worked and made a mess of merging things. Someone who just recently learned that object is an instance of a class. With so many talented individuals on board, I wanted to present at least something in the end. But first, of course, I entered full panic mode. When I opened the code left by the experienced programmer, I realized there is no way in hell I'm making it work in the time left. There were some keywords that I've never seen in my life. And understanding the code that seemed very convoluted to me back then would take a lot of time. And boy, time is what we did not have. The deadline was nearing and there was not a single working level. I just couldn't risk spending a lot of time trying to get someone else's code work without any guarantee that it would in the end. And desperate times call for desperate measures. Enter ChatGPT, a lot of noodle coding and hard coding. Mind you, I still had to use a lot of the original code base for enemy AI and state transitions, but I had to add some hacks. A plethora of hacks. Can you guess what this abomination means? I couldn't get animations to work properly, so I hard-coded them in a way that I had to manually set up each animation direction for each guard, depending on their movement. I know, sometimes my genius is almost frightening. The whole code base in the end was just a lot of duct tape and prayers. Thankfully, another newbie programmer made a UI manager. Otherwise, we would not have UI in this game, because I was just at my limit. This affair was a carnage. It was a band-aid solution after a band-aid solution. During the process, there were several times where I was this close to writing a sorrowful letter to my team saying that I just couldn't do it. But thankfully, it didn't come to this. My sanity may have been dwindling by the day, but in the end, when I started seeing levels shape up, I realized, you know what? We are going to have something to present for the jam. It got easier in the process, and a lot of teammates helped in any way they could, even just by offering support sometimes. And we did ship the game on time, so let me present you Ask Poet, a game where you are an alien trying to escape from interspecies prison run by humans. We did end up getting 11th place out of 35 entries, and mostly due to the very low ranking on the horror scale, which was really fair because this game did not turn out scary at all. I tried making it as creepy as I could, but I just didn't have enough time and experience to pull it off. Despite all the hiccups I described, I was really grateful for this game jam experience. I learned a ton of things, and I also met some wonderful people and forged some relationships that flourished outside of the game jam experience. And I still work with some of these people to this very day. More on this later. Also, it gave me a boost to my confidence in my abilities because I did manage to present a game on time, even if it was simple and wonky. Yes, it was stressful, but it's mostly on me because I get stressed really easily. But before I stop yapping here, I need to share something else. After 2 weeks or so, I joined another game jam, GMTK, which only lasted for 4 days. And I joined another team consisting of 5 people, including me. And guess what happened? 2 people left after the first day because we couldn't decide on a game that we wanted to create. At this point in time, I was just thinking, am I somehow the problem? Am I cursing teams to break up during the middle of the game jam? How did this happen 2 times in a row? But thankfully, an artist came on board at last notice, and I was doing small bits and pieces of code while the senior developer actually brought the game together. So in the end, I ended up meeting some more cool and talented people, and in general, I enjoyed this game jam experience. And the game turned out really cute. Just look at these chunky dragons. That's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye! Whole game to get an experience. It looked like and a lot of noodle coating.